are back, better than ever. Eric Bischoff, shout out those the wrestling fans out there. We know
Better
we got
than
'em.
ever.
It's a great song. Okay, don't want to get too sidetracked.
That was peak wrestling entrance era, probably.
Yeah, you knew when he came out that he was going to get some emotion out of you. You were going to be pissed off.
Oh yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's been a while, Matt. It's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know. It feels like an eternity since we've had a W2F. Brian Stewart here, back in the Catbird, joined by Matt Stewart. And we're just easing back into things. Well, we're not really easing in. I mean, it's going to be a banger of a show, we believe. But it has been a while. We slept through the dead period. It was hibernation season, NFL-wise. And even though we didn't really plan on it to go that way, ignore the rumors, the things that are buzzing throughout the streets about why maybe we were off. Were we ever coming back? Were we coming back in this way? Ignore all that. I'm here to deliver the truth. The truth is, life got busy. Yes, hands up. Excuses are being made. You yourself moved states away now in Nashville, Tennessee, and I moved across the hallway where I'm at, which was a big load, to be honest. And it goes beyond that. So that's just scratching the surface. There's a lot more than even what I just said, but we're here. That's what matters. And training camp is starting. Veterans, rookies, they're all reporting this week. Some already have. And so it's time to rock and roll, baby. 2023 season. And so with that, I'm going to let you reintroduce yourself because it kind of feels like we've never been here before.
Fair enough. Like, you think they need a whole briefing, like, on who I am as a person, as a human? What are you thinking?
Go with what your heart desires. I mean, I don't know. I don't need that, but who knows who's going to start listening for the first time of this episode.
You're right. All right, dear listener. Here, I'm going to give it to you, the full synopsis. You're looking at artist, songwriter, good time extraordinaire, fruit snack connoisseur, hostess with the mostest, known from the Midwest, South, and all the coastest, kind of, sort of, but maybe not really. Matt Stewart, guys, it is wonderful to be here. Man, yeah, Brian, you mentioned the rumors. The rumor mills were swirling. You know, people were like, did they break up? Bass Daddy's been MIA. You know, the headlines have been saying he's been partying in the streets. He's been hanging out with different women every night. And while it may be true, that has no impact on this podcast. We're still going strong. You know, and here's the thing. We did take some time off, right? But it's the summertime. This is mainly a football podcast. There's not a lot to talk about. And here's the thing. If Mike Florio is going to take off, you better believe this up-and-coming podcast is going to take his spot. They deserve a break as well. So good to be back, Brian.
This tells you just how busy and crazy things have been. I didn't even know Florio took time off. Like, what's that about? Is he not coming back for another week or two? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's still off or what. I don't know, man. But we're coming for the crown. That's all I know.
We are, and we start with one of the bigger headlines going around. Well, of course, Matt, there was the Netflix quarterback series, which we both have watched. I think a lot of people listening have probably seen it by now in its entirety. And then, and so I'll touch base on that and I want to get your thoughts, but also that in comparison with Hard Knocks, because, starting with the quarterback series, I was a big fan. I thought that it delivered. I thought that they did a really good job of like taking these three different levels of quarterback and making each episode, you know, show that glimpse into a certain window of what they go through, right? Like, I just remember like that episode that was all about their homecomings and how they tied that in all in the same time frame. It was kind of crazy. And then of course it helps a lot. Like Peyton Manning and Omaha Productions, they got a massive Christmas bonus with the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl because that made content that otherwise would not have been there and made for the best episodes. I selfishly would say those last two. It's a good show, and it's already been renewed, and whoever's on it next year, it'll obviously be different people, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to it. So I ask you, in a second your thoughts on the show, but also Hard Knocks. We found out New York Jets, they're going to be featured team even against their will. Sounds exciting on the surface, but apparently they have kind of made demands on their behalf to say, hey, we will not show players getting cut, which is new for Hard Knocks. There, who knows what else, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like it's going to be really, really filtered out and dry. And I have thoughts on that, but I just want to see what you're thinking because this is one of the big headlines here as we sit in late July.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the choice of the New York Jets, right? I feel like there's a lot of great storylines going on with that team right now. The thing I'm kind of surprised about, like you said, they're taking away cameras out of the cut room, things like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
making it a little bit maybe they're not wanting to put all their cards on the table. But here's the thing: they have Aaron Rodgers right now. You're going to tell me that guy doesn't want to be in front of that camera 24/8, just giving his hot takes left and right, talking about a little DMT and who knows what else? I don't know, man. That may be I don't know if it'd be the first, maybe the second sign of dissension within that New York organization already.
I Hard Knocks has been, and I want to be fair to Detroit because last year was probably the best season in the last three at least. I didn't care for the Cowboys one. I didn't care for. I mean, most people you can't even remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly didn't care for the COVID year with the Chargers and Rams.
Oh yeah.
It's been sliding downward for a while, and I think it's fair to say it's not entirely HBO's fault, right? It's just the natural evolution. This show, when it first came out, it was the only way for a fan to get that inside look at what a team was going through. You couldn't just go on YouTube or a team's internet page and see these types of videos, which now almost every team is producing some sort of their own behind the scenes content, and you add on top the fact that it is becoming so saturated and filtered out, pussified per se. It creates a problem to where how much longer do we need Hard Knocks to go on? I think it's a fair question. Now HBO, I'm sure they're going to say we'll just keep going. People are going to watch, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. But before we wrap this conversation up, Matt, what's your thoughts on the cut thing? Do you think that that should be left out of the show? Is it inhumane, as the rumors suggested? The Jets brass felt it was inhumane because I don't know. I feel like this is one of those issues that's a little sensitive, but either on one side or the other.
So here's the thing. First off, I think you make some excellent points because I was like thinking myself, what made Hard Knocks so entertaining for a long time, but now, like you said, it's kind of just stale and frankly a little bit boring anymore. You're right. There's just so much more stuff going on these days, and like a little bit more raw, I guess. And like you said, quarterback, we can dive a little bit more into that in a little bit, but I feel like that was much more of an entertaining show. You had the star power of actually the quarterbacks full time, things like that. But as far as the cuts go, I'm kind of a mixed bag on that. Like, I understand where they're coming from. I do. That maybe it is a little inhumane, but I think at the same time, I think that storyline, that narrative would almost be beneficial to the players. Because think about it, the people that are watching at home, they want to fall in love with the story, they want to fall in love with the character, and who knows, maybe other teams even do. I feel like being cut in that platform actually might help create more opportunities for them, if that makes any sort of sense.
Hmm.
And that could
It
just be
pulls,
pure hypothesis. I don't know. What do you
it,
say?
it pulls kind of at the heartstrings a little bit and opens up viewers to feel that vulnerability, feel sorry for these guys. And that's the thing, too. For the people out there who say, who cares that they're getting cut, they're making all this money. No, that perspective is wrong because a lot of times the
Mm,
guys getting cut are not loaded with
mm,
cash yet. They may
mm,
never even dress in a uniform again and have made a few bucks to go to training camp, right?
mm-hmm.
So that's incorrect. But every year, especially as of late, like the main characters of Hard Knocks have been those one or two fringe players who have a big personality, something that makes them entertaining. And whether they make the team or not, they become like they become the main characters in a good
Mm-hmm.
way generally. But I don't know. We'll see. I kind of want to see how this season goes. See if it's something that we miss, like those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I would just prefer it if they would show us more of the like coaches meetings and scouting meetings where they talk about these players. They might even say things like, "Oh, he's on the outside looking in," but maybe we don't need to watch them actually get
Mm.
released. Maybe there's like a
Mm-hmm.
fine line there to be found, but
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough. I mean, because obviously you don't want to see anybody get cut. It's just the nature of the business. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, I understand that it's obviously an emotional, tough, heart wrenching thing, I suppose, right, for a lot of players. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like to look at the optimistic side of things, and maybe it helps some of these guys. But I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's not necessary with everything else. Maybe they can still get that story across.
time will tell. We have a new segment. This isn't going to be a
Wait,
recurring segment. Oh,
wait, Brian. Before we get into it, I just want to get a quick. Obviously, we know how we feel about Patrick Mahomes, how everybody feels about him, but I want to know what you come away from quarterback feeling about Mariota and Kirk Cousins first.
I didn't find anything terribly surprising. I was a little caught off guard by how tough Kirk Cousins seemed to be, and you
Mm-hmm.
understand these quarterbacks, they're getting taking a beating week in and week out for the most part, but um, to see kind of just what he does to get his body ready to play was a little bit of a surprise.
Mm.
And I gained respect for Kirk. I did. I like him more after the show than I did, to the point that like I started to ask, that top 10 list I did earlier this year, maybe he should have been in that 10 spot over Geno Smith. Like,
Really?
and I know it's a recency bias thing that something, if they do that show about Geno Smith, I'm going to say no, it's Geno. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really Kirk gained weight for me in a positive stock. And then Mariota is kind of the opposite. And it's nothing
Mm.
personal about him. It's just he kind of confirmed what I thought I knew about him. And that is, I just don't think football is all that important to him, which that's his decision. That's his intuition per se.
Mm.
But that's also why he got benched. That's why he's not going to be a starter moving forward. And it's pretty lucky probably to even have a backup position, especially on a team as good as the Eagles. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that would be it for me, though.
Yeah, I'd say it played out pretty well for both of those guys. Yeah, like you said, Mariota going to Philly, great situation for him. As far as Kirk goes, I think the benefit for him, right, is he is the butt of a lot of jokes, right? But this platform made him seem a lot more human. Seems like a super nice guy, no doubt about it. I'm sure he's likable in the day to day world. Um, but that also, I mean, to the dismay of Vikings fans, you're going to love the guy more, but I still question his ability to actually get it done when it's necessary. So it's an interesting dichotomy, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out from there.
Yeah, we'll be talking. We might even be talking Vikings in the next upcoming part of our show.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna play a classic game. What's more likely? And you've probably heard this done on your favorite sports show at some point or another. We have never done it, and so I'm kind of excited. It's a little pre-training camp, a little pre-season uh, exercise we're going through. And so, taking turns, Matt and I will just say, hey, what's more likely, A or B, and have the discussion. And Matt, I start out here with the team we were just talking about, the team that is leading the league in ESPN, NFL.com headlines of the 23 offseason. It's the Jets. And my what's more likely question for you is this: is it more likely that Aaron Rodgers wins a fifth MVP award, or that the New York Jets finish last place in the AFC East? And take some time.
Mm, that's a good one. That is a good one right there.
Thank you.
I'm torn on it a little bit because obviously this, Rodgers, like Mariota, I don't know if his heart's always in football,
Mm.
but he does like to prove people wrong and to prove that he's the big dog and like has that ego, and I get that. So maybe he's going to put everything he has into this season. Maybe he does put on an MVP caliber season, but I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to go with last place. I think that's more likely. I don't know that they're last place team, but obviously Buffalo, I think they could take a slide back, but still a great team. Miami, if Tua can stay remotely healthy, still a good team. And Patriots, I feel like they'll be a little bit better this season. So, I mean, it's possible. I go Jets last place.
I concur. I really do. Although, it wasn't an automatic for me. I
Mm-hmm.
just love this division. I think this division, every year I have one that I'm looking for, right? 2 years ago, it was the NFC West, which was the consensus best division in the league. And it turned out to be just that on that particular year. Last year,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was talking about the AFC West. Kind of fell flat, right? Didn't turn out that
Mm-hmm.
way for a variety of reasons. This year, for me, it's the
Mm-hmm.
AFC East.
Mm-hmm.
And you could argue for the AFC North, the AFC West again if you wanted to. But I look at these four teams. Three of them, I think, could reach a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And New England, I have like on my radar as a team that's probably being written off just a little too hard, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Belichick, of course, bringing the offensive coordinator back, Bill O'Brien. These are things that are going to matter, and we just know their history. So, yeah, do I think the Jets are going to finish last? Not really, but certainly more likely than Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP in his first season with them. Um, but he seems to be acclimating well, right? I'm sure that the vibes are high. Games haven't been played. We'll see where it goes. Matt, what is your first?
Before I dive deep in that, you mentioned the AFC East could be a little bit like the West of last season. What if it played out exactly like that, Brian? And hear me out. Here is my thesis, right?
Okay.
Patriots or the Raiders, right? They could be okay. You never know. The Jets or the Broncos, right? They bring in
Mhm.
Russell Wilson. Could be the exact same scenario. Dolphins could be the Chargers, like that team that's just right there, but for whatever reason, coaching wise, personnel wise, injury wise, can't get it done. And the Bills are the Chiefs, and they just essentially dominate the division again. It could play out exactly that way.
Definitely could. Definitely could.
I just thought that was a fun little mirroring. All right, Brian, this one is super recent. Right before we got on the pod, I was just on Twitter scrolling a little bit. Can't help but keep your ear to the ground a little bit with the Saquon Barkley situation. The New York Giants, Brian, brought in James Robinson. So that's obviously putting some pressure. We can say that it's, insurance for Saquon Barkley, but who's to say, Brian? Who's to say? James Robinson or Saquon Barkley? Who's going to be the guy in New York this year?
Oh shoot. Well, this is just subject for me. I think Le'Veon um, set the example of what not to follow, and so I just don't take the holdout thing real seriously. I think right now, Barkley, he's laying in the crib and kicking his feet and asking for his binky, but at the end of the day, he's not going to sleep this one out. He has got to show up. He might do the hold in. He might skip camp with fake injury. So what?
Mm-hmm.
When that ball gets teed up week one, he's going to be there. He's going to be the best part of their offense still until he potentially gets hurt, which we know he has a history with. And that's just really that. James Robinson's a depth signing. Maybe he makes the team. Maybe he doesn't. At this point, it's no lock. Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. I it's a bummer. The running back thing we could go on for a long time, but it's going to take a lot more than just the short period of time they have right now to do something. Like they need to really come up with a plan as a collective. Saquon alone, it's not going to be enough. He's going to play.
All right, we'll see how it plays out, man. You never know. You never know. It's an we'll see. We'll see how much he wants that bag, and like you said, maybe it's all the work, but you never know. Running backs are weird.
Running backs are weird. And
Mm-hmm.
going in that same division, okay, Pork's going to hear this one and he's going to wish he was here to participate in the battle. We're talking the Dallas Cowboys. How could we not at least touch on the Dallas Cowboys? And the question is this, Matt. They haven't reached the NFC Championship game since 26, 27 years ago in their heyday. What's more likely? Dallas finally gets back to that NFC Championship game, or they miss the playoffs altogether in 2023?
Mm. This is actually, normally it's just a good question, but it's really tough this season because, I mean, you just got to think of the landscape of the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I see more likely them missing personally, and it's not even to be a hater. It's not. It's just I don't know. I don't think that they're doing a lot of things that have really improved the team much over last season for the most part. And like we said, tough division. Philly, I feel like is going to own that, and the Giants are not bad. And who knows? The Commanders, new ownership. Who knows? You never know. And then of course you got the rest of the NFC that could play out wild card wise. I'm taking them to miss the playoffs over making an NFC title game for sure. What do you think?
I differ, but let me explain. Okay,
Okay.
because the immediate reaction, oh, you think the Cowboys are going to the NFC Championship? That's not what I'm saying. I would say we're asking what's more likely. So if we put percentage odds on this, I think the percentage odds are higher that they make it the NFC Championship game than they miss the playoffs. I think the NFC is too weak to keep a talented Cowboys team out. Unless Dak were to get injured or something like that, maybe Micah Parsons. But when I say the percent's better, I'm saying like there's a 10% chance they make the NFC Championship game, and there's a 8% chance that they miss the playoffs. That's what I mean. I don't think this is likely in any sort for either one, So still have no respect for where they're going. And it's one of those weird years where people are either feeling sneaky, like, oh, I'm going to be the one to finally pick it. This year is the year they're going to make it. And then you do have people who are saying, nah, they're about to take their typical 9-8 backslide, possibly miss the playoffs. And we'll see. Either way, it'll be entertaining as hell because Jerry can't keep his hands out of his britches. And he's going to say whatever comes to his mind. And we don't even know yet if Zeke's coming back. Just all kinds of good vibes.
Yeah, no, headline coming out of this. Brian Stewart says Cowboys make NFC title game. That's all I got out of all that. You may have made valid points, but that's all I got out of that. That's all I'm saying, man.
That is not at all, though, what was said. It was. I thought I did a pretty good job explaining my way out of that, walking that backwards. I guess not.
You did, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I don't know. I mean, as long as Philly stays like remotely healthy, they're going to steamroll them, I feel like. And I mean, I guess the Cowboys did beat them last season,
Well,
didn't they?
Matt, let's stay here because one of the ones I was going to do, and I hope I'm not stealing from you, but we're already on the subject. One of the ones I was going to say is what's more likely. The NFC Championship game is a rematch of last year, Niners, Eagles, or any other possible matchup. So I'm basically asking you, is there a 50% or better chance that the game is a rematch? I think this year, I'll just go ahead and say it. I think it is a better than 50% chance that it's a rematch. I think they're that loaded on those two teams, and the rest of the teams just I don't see the big team leaping out, right? I don't. I can't put all my faith in any of the other rosters.
Yeah, I mean the NFC West is always a bit of a scramble, and we don't know what they're going to do at quarterback in San Francisco totally yet, due to obviously recovery time and things like that. Yeah. But on the same hand of things, the Cowboys, who says they got a great quarterback either? So yeah, I would say. Yeah, probably. I mean, probably, unless, I don't know, maybe your boy Kirk Cousins pulls a miracle out of, I don't know. So I'd say you're probably right, actually.
I figured you to be the one to say, like, Detroit or.
Detroit could be interesting, but until they prove it, it's hard to fully buy in, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be that team, I feel like, to get your hopes up, and they just kind of, they fizzle. So I don't know.
I'm all for these rematches, and part of it is I feel like we got cheated last year. I think anybody does. Like that game was so anticlimactic, really, from like
Mm,
the quarter on. And but they both are bringing back great rosters. Niners even stole Javon Hargrave from Philadelphia in free agency.
mm.
Um, and so I like it's kind of like the Chiefs and Bengals, right? Like you come back that next year and the animosity is just heightened, and the fan bases are face fucking each other and having the mayor's coming out and calling Mahomes the son of Joe Burrow. Like these types of rivalries develop not by anything but repetition, especially in the biggest moments. And so I want to see that happen again. And I think the odds are 51% at least that that's the case. It's not going to be easy though, and I'm probably not giving enough credit to the risk involved with injuries and all that.
Fair.
But the
But
Niners
I
are
like
quarterback proof, and the Eagles are so talented. I think they could withstand some injuries and still get there. So
solid points. I do like your point you're making about the feud, like creating the storyline almost. It's like obviously people are going to watch big football games regardless, but if you have like that the underneath storyline that kind of just connects everything a little bit together, it makes things more interesting. You're right. It's that is fun. I didn't really think about that till just now, but I'm in. I'm in. Do it again. Run it back.
hidden layer too is you need that game to be in Philly because their fans
Mm.
and their environment. It's like ECW back in 1995 or whenever that was hot. Like literally
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So um,
I love
anyway,
it. Yeah.
tossing it to you.
Absolutely. Okay. This one I think will be kind of interesting. Obviously I know where you're going to land on it. I think, but maybe not, because I think I may land on the other opposite of the coin, Brian. Which new quarterback on new team is going to get their team further? Obviously, Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets, Derek Carr on the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I surface level is an easy call, but it's not at all because again, you go back to the strengths of the conferences. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets could have a good season and finish third place in their division, no problem, with 10 wins, 11 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then the Saints, on the other hand, worst division on paper and perhaps the whole league, they might get in with 8 wins and be under 500. So,
Mm-hmm.
that being said, I'm not predicting that to happen. I'm not predicting that the Saints are going to win their division. Uh, Spoiler alert. And so, but then again, I'm not predicting the Jets are going to win theirs either. Fuck, that might be the hardest one yet for me, and it's probably
Tough one by
because
design.
it's probably because I honestly don't know that I see either team winning a playoff game. But if you said
Mm-hmm.
gun to your head, who's going to get in the playoffs? I guess right now I'll take the Jets, and I
Mm.
don't like it, but I think their defense will get them through any growing pains that the offense might have.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, can't really argue with that too terribly much. Obviously, it's Aaron Rodgers versus Derek Carr. The Jets have a better team overall, but obviously, the caveat is the Saints are going to have an easier road, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mix it up. Why not? The Saints, they suckered me in last season with Jameis. You know what? Why not give me a
Still
new
there.
lovable loser in Derek Carr?
And there is something weird, we spent 10 years kind of hating Derek Carr, or at least not liking him other than when he would play the Chiefs. And I say that tongue in cheek, but now that he's in on the other conference, there's a part of me that just like wants him me to make wants me to see him make the Raiders look bad by being
Yes.
successful, right? Like oh, it was the Raiders. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't at the top of my game. We'll see. I don't know. He
Absolutely.
needs.
And let's be real, he's probably, I think he's a lock for next season, a quarterback that you're talking about. He's the Kirk Cousins replacement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be a good fit. See a guy like transitioning into
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans, gonna be a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt, I've got one more
Okay.
for me. And what's more likely, the Buffalo Bills or the Cincinnati Bengals? Which team is more likely to win their first ever Lombardi trophy and win the entire damn bowl? Um, I know I'm putting your back against the wall, but I'm just saying, like, if one of them's going to win it, who's it going to be?
Dude, that's wild. One of my last ones here, though, before I get into it, was which quarter or which team do you think, or which quarterback's going to take the step back? Joe Burrow or Josh Allen? Literally, written down in my notebook here. So, it's tough, dude. Uh, I like Josh Allen better as a player and just skill wise, but
Hmm.
probably Burrow. Honestly, I think the team's better. So I think the Bengals would be more likely to raise the Lombardi. They've had a little bit more playoff success. I think they're more well rounded. And as much as I hate to say it, he's kind of got that win genetic in him for
Mhm.
whatever reason. I don't know. Like I despise the guy watching him when he like plays Kansas City and really anybody because of that fact. But if I had to pick, probably the Bengals. And of course, we got the drama going on in Buffalo still. With
Yeah,
Diggs and Allen. Getting strange. So yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals.
I do agree. And it's not by much. Like, I haven't decided yet how I am ultimately going to predict the AFC to play out, but it just goes back to kind of what have we been shown. We've been shown that the Bengals have a knack for showing up in big games. Their defensive coordinator has them playing. They play better against the quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Mahomes. Um, and I do think Buffalo going to a defense that's led by Sean McDermott should help in those big games, but that defense is getting old, right? Like where it matters, their
Mm-hmm.
best players are all in their 30s, pretty much. I mean, Tre'Davious White, he needs to make a comeback from his knee injury to his old form. The Bengals don't really have those problems. They are trying to replace two safeties that were really, really good, but like I don't know. I feel like by the time the playoffs roll around, they'll probably have it figured out enough. And yeah, Burrow I just trust him a little more than Josh. And I like Josh more, like you said, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can never forget the time his first ever playoff game against the Texans when he just started. Basically, he was the kid with the joystick, like hitting buttons, and
Mm-hmm.
that part of him, it's just in there, and you never know when
Yeah.
it's going to come out, and it just takes one play against Burrow or Mahomes for that to be it, and you're sent home. So
Yeah. I literally almost brought up that same point there. I was like, we saw bits and pieces and flashes of Josh Allen last season where he did that bonehead Josh would pop back up, like you saw in even quarterback that Minnesota Vikings game. I
mm-hmm.
mean, I'm not going to blame him totally for the snap on the quarterback sneak, right?
Mm.
But obviously not what you need to be doing in that situation. And at the end of the game, where he just threw the one of the worst picks probably of the season, arguably. So bonehead Josh, he could make an appearance at any time. So that's big reason why I have to lean Bengals on that. As much as I hate to do it at this moment, that's who I would say.
All right, you got one for me, or we moving on?
Okay, well, since you kind of took one, Brian, let's play a little bit of
Sure.
a bonus one, right? Which is more likely, Brian? Which movie is better? Which one are you gonna see, Brian? The country is a buzzin'. Barbie or Oppenheimer?
Hmm.
I think I said that right. Is it Oppenheimer? I don't know.
No, you said it right.
Okay.
Oppenheimer. That's the one about like sex underground sex actors.
That is the Sound of Freedom, I believe. That is a different movie. I mean, there may be a little bit of that going on here, but I believe this is the one where
Hmm.
they bring in the scientist or whatever to work on the Manhattan Project and create a bomb. Christopher Nolan is the director. That's what has me interested in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about the story. The story seems a little bit. It may be great. I don't know. A little
No, I
dark,
was
but who
talking
knows?
about Barbie. I know about Oppenheimer.
Oh god. I mean, that's fair play too. I don't know what Barbie's even about, to be honest with you. I don't know. It's
Is
just
Cena
like
in it? I heard Cena was in it.
John Cena's in it.
I think he's got a little cameo, if
Oh
nothing
my
else.
god. This movie's gonna be a hit. I saw Will Ferrell was in it before I brought this up. I was like, okay, maybe this movie's got some legs. So if Cena's in it and Will Ferrell's in it, consider me intrigued.
Yeah, I've heard about people doing the double feature, planning to see the movies back to back. And if you're into
Really?
popcorn, I say go for it. At least you can get the refill and stay active and attentive.
What's the
Otherwise,
commitment of that? 5 hours? I saw that
well,
Oppenheimer
yeah, I
movie's
mean,
like three,
that's,
three
yeah,
hours.
3 hour movie. You're definitely going to need an intermission and possibly a quick run over to the local McDonald's, Sonic, whatever it is that's nearby in
Oh
between.
yeah.
Um, but whatever it takes, no excuses.
Yeah, I mean, no free shout out, but yeah, Summer of Sonic, that'd be kind of a cool thing to do. You know,
Is that
you
still
hit.
going on? The
I
shake?
don't know. I thought it was always going on. I don't. Is it just living in my head? I feel like that's a thing. I'm like, it's summer. You know what that means? Hanging out at Sonic, getting a little ocean slush. You know,
Yeah.
in between Barbie and Oppenheimer, and maybe Sound of Freedom if you're really feeling fired up.
Wink, wink. Okay. Yeah. No. If I'm making the decision, I'm probably more likely to see Oppenheimer, but probably not. Probably not my sole discretionary decision. So, you know how it goes.
Sounds like Brian's going to see the Barbie movie or Sound of Freedom. I don't know. I don't know what Grace is into, but it'll be interesting.
Um. Okay, so we got one little window, and it of course is reserved for our dick of the week.
Dick of the week. Da-na-na.
Can't wait.
I need to make like a little jingle for it. Dick of the week.
Yeah, yeah, a little flute,
Mm-hmm.
little yeah, whatever you really want it to be. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Matt, I'm gonna let you go first because I know this was hard. Like, there's not been a whole lot to get upset about lately. I wouldn't say, at least in the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream. So
Mm-hmm.
give me what you got.
Yeah, like you said, it's been kind of a slow go of it for Dick of the Week. I actually have two options though. I was scraping the bottom of the barrel of the internet in more ways than one, I guess. I don't know if you're familiar with the podcast No Jumper, Brian. Apparently, it's a big deal. I don't know. They have rappers and hip hop artists, and I don't know, comedians too, maybe. Anyway, the host named Adam 22, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, okay. You know where I'm going with this. He's
yeah,
his
yeah.
wife, an adult film actress. I don't know if she retired when they got married or what, but
Doesn't sound like it.
she made her triumphant comeback, and apparently, I don't know. I haven't seen the content, but got absolutely railed. And this guy's getting absolutely railed on the internet for allowing it to happen. So I don't know who's the dick of the week. I don't know if it's her on camera lover or him or her for that matter. But there's a lot of dick of the week going on. If you know what I'm saying.
I think it's definitely him because even if let's just say she wanted to participate in this, and it sounds like she obviously did,
Mm.
them having the conversation, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. When I first, because you started seeing the little memes with the photo, and then they would like somebody would paste somebody's face in the background over the the guy who slam pieced his wife.
Mm.
And so I'm like, what does this mean? And then I figured out what was going on. And my first instinct reaction was just pure nausea. Like,
Mm.
I felt sick at just the sheer thought that this is a thing. And I know he's not
Mm.
the only one out there who's like this. Um,
Mm.
and then come to find out, Adam 22, I believe, was the filmer.
What?
He was the one who
Really?
behind the camera. That is what I have heard, or at least read
Wow.
in the Twitter sphere. Crazy, and so
Wild.
yeah, I mean, it takes to another
So
level. There's a disconnect.
so are they making all the? I don't know how much money this even makes. I don't know what this how this industry plays out anymore, honestly. But how much money do you think they're making off this? And what dollar figure makes it make sense?
There is no dollar figure, and I don't
No,
even think the money could be that good. I don't see how it
that's what I
could
was
be.
saying. Yeah, I was like,
Um,
I don't know where you get the money anyway. But
who are you selling it to? I don't know how that works. Obviously,
mm,
we're doing a good job through the conversation of like deflecting and making sure like I don't know how this goes, but if I did know how, this is how I think it would. Yeah, like
well, I mean,
hands
yeah, we
off.
need to
Our
learn
hands.
more about the economics of the adult film industry for sure. But fascinating little saga, and I'm just can't help but wonder how much money makes it make sense. So.
No, that's just it. There is that's a good pick. I think it's very, very worthy. But he's been, burned at the stake for it, I would say. And openly cuckolding yourself, it's a statement. Maybe it's
Mm,
like maybe he just knows it was going to happen no matter what. So he just like
mm.
tries to embrace it, and that's the cover, right? And clearly, this marriage is unique, but um, 2023. Only now in the present day do you see and hear about things like this going on. Um,
Absolutely, I almost said a beautiful thing, but it's a thing.
a bit, it's a boner. It's a boner in more ways
It
than
is,
one.
especially for the other dude.
So mine a little more innocent than that. I'm not going to lean into the porn side of the pop culture. But Matt, I don't know if you've heard or not. It's Madden Week, which why
Really?
Madden Week became a thing. I think is dumb. Like the game doesn't come out probably for another month, but it's simply because the ratings are being released day by day, and it's kind of fun. Like don't get me wrong, I like to check on them, but my dick of the week is the Madden ratings creator or creator,
Mm.
whoever it is that's making the decisions. And look, it's just good fun. Every year these ratings come out, nobody sits there and says, great job on those ratings. Like you really nailed it. No, we just sit there and we talk about the ones they got wrong. And if you're a fan of a team, you'll go through, you'll see your whole roster be like, that's bullshit. No, this guy, you've got him at a 63. He's a good depth piece, 71. This guy, 99. Mahomes, he should be 101, even though it's not possible. We agree, like these are the way it goes. We're never going to focus on the good side of things, nor should we, because Madden, it's left a lot to be desired for 10 plus years now. And so, Dick of
Hmm.
the Week, 100%, the Madden's rating setters, adjusters, all of it, don't know ball for my money.
Mm.
Don't know how they even come up with the ratings. Like, are they really grinding the tape? Or are they just pulling, like, where do they get their information from, really? It's something I'm
Yeah,
fascinated to know.
that is a good point. It's an excellent question, and I wonder how many of these guys do you think they just throw away on, just kind of create like a little bit of a PR stunt or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, just give some X number, let's say Sauce Gardner or something like that. They're just like, yeah, let's maybe make them a little bit lower than we should. For example, I'm sure they didn't, but I'm just using a name out there. Uh, Maybe that's part of the work, and it's a little bit of like a little sprinkle PR advertising that we don't even realize is going on.
Always got a kick out of the long snappers being on the game because
Mm.
it's like a nod, like here you are, James Winchester, 38 overall. We don't even have a rating for what you do on the field, but here's the character. And of course, you start your franchise or whatever, and you cut his ass within 2 minutes of gameplay. Um, that's just one of those things I always get a kick out of. Like, have I ever played a game with a long snapper? Not in a franchise mode. Um, yeah, we'll see.
Also, how do you rate a long snapper difference? I mean, I'm sure there's like an error or two a season, but there's probably not a lot of long snapping issues going on out there. Not that I know of, at least.
It's a pretty steady operation. Yeah, it's like going through Taco Bell and getting the breakfast crunch wrap. You pretty much know what you're going to get. Every now and then they might short you a little bit on that spicy sauce, and you're pissed. But then you take another bite, and it's like, oh no, they put it all in there. It's just in one little pocket of it, and they didn't spread it out well. These are the things that you got to poke holes in a long snapper's game to really get anywhere.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like maybe pure fashion sense off the field, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Facts. All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it. We know it's only going to get crazier from here. Mentioned it already. Camps are starting. The headlines are going to be hot and steamy. And we will be here to cover those. And can't wait, man. Another season. Best time of the year is close. Going to start like smelling football, which is a real thing in certain areas of the country. And kind of like a tradition, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
embrace.
crazy how fast. How is this already coming up again? This is it seems so fast because I feel
Ooh.
like
Well, here's my
it just
theory. I, for me personally, I don't. I mean, I know why it's gone by fast for me personally. It's just been when you're busy. You're busy. Time flies by, and before you know it, boom, here you go. But then you think like, okay, well, in Kansas City they won the Super Bowl.
hmm.
Second time I've seen that happen, but the first time was COVID year, which was like the longest summer ever in some ways.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's a new experience in that sense. And
that's a
yeah,
good theory.
it's crazy. It's crazy that 5 months has came and gone, and but I'm not complaining to be honest with you.
No, I mean it's good to get obviously the world's better with football in it. So yeah, it's a good theory actually, Brian. Well done on that. You brought some good stuff to the table as far as the scientific hypothesis, and I'm as surprised as anybody. But you've done well.
That's what happens when you got a lot of toilet time. All right, W2Fers, we appreciate you as always. We will be back sooner than later, and you never know who's going to be with us, but you do know this: you're going to get smarter. You're going to come into work. You're going to put your nose in the grindstone, sit in the seat, and take our coaching, and take that wherever you go and you talk about ball, um, coworkers, family. Maybe you just love to spend time talking about ball with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. All right,
That's
Matt, you
right.
got anything? Otherwise, we're signing off.
No, welcome back, dear listener. It's been we've missed you. You've missed us. That's probably it. You probably missed us more than we
That's
missed you. But it's
yeah.
good. It's good you're here.
I don't even know who you are. I just yeah, but thank
There's
you.
just you know what's that Bon Jovi quote? What is it exactly? Only the names and faces. I don't know. Change. I don't know exactly the lyric actually. But I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. So welcome back.
I think that was the quote you were looking for.
Sounds
Cool.
right. Feels good.
All right. See ya.
Peace.